If Enzi were alive today, he wouldn't be chasing Singh or stressing over texts left on read. He'd be the calmest man in the room, watching the emotional chaos unfold while staying 10 steps ahead. Why? Because nature understood the deeper layers of human nature, especially when it came to power, emotion, and manipulation. He didn't see women as enemies or puzzles to solve. He saw the game and he refused to play it blindly. Most men today don't even realize they're being tested, pushed, or emotionally pulled, but Enzi did. Over a century ago, he warned men, if you don't know how power really works, especially in relationships, you'll be controlled without even knowing it. This video isn't about blaming women. It's about opening your eyes, because once you see what Na saw, everything changes. You'll stop reacting, you'll start thinking, and you'll walk through this world with quiet strength and total clarity. Rule 1. He who needs nothing has the most power. Enzi believed real power begins the moment you stop needing it from anyone else, especially from women. He saw dependency, validation seeking, and emotional chasing as chains. And most men, they wear those chains proudly, not even realizing they're prisoners to approval, attention, or affection. But the man who needs nothing, he's dangerous, he's free. Because when a woman senses that you don't need her to feel whole, she loses control over you. That's when the dynamic flips. You stop chasing, and she starts wondering. Nietzsche's idea of the Übermensch wasn't just about strength, it was about self-mastery, emotional independence, the kind of quiet power that doesn't beg, doesn't bargain, and never breaks under pressure. The moment she knows you need her, she owns you. But the Übermensch, he walks alone and she follows. This isn't about being cold, it's about being unshakable. Stop needing and you start leading. Rule 2. Never argue emotionally. Rise above the chaos. Nature understood something most men still haven't figured out. When emotions run wild, the one who stays calm wins. Women often test through emotion, pushing buttons, creating drama, seeing if you'll break. Why? Because reaction equals control. But nature warned, never lower yourself into that chaos. The moment you argue emotionally, you've already lost your center. You've stepped into the fire and now you're burning with her. But the man who rises above, he watches, he listens, he doesn't flinch. That's not weakness, it's dominance. In a storm of emotion, clarity is power. Confidence is rare, she screams, you stay silent. She flails, you observe. And in that moment, she realizes you can't be moved. Nature would call that godlike detachment, a level of power that makes you untouchable. Let others drown in drama. You rise above it. Emotion is her weapon. Stillness is yours. Rule 3. Own your shadow or she will use it against you. Nature said it plainly. Everyone has a shadow, the dark parts of ourselves we hide, deny, or try to forget. But here's the truth. What you ignore, others will use against you, especially in relationships. A woman, whether consciously or not, will test for weakness. She'll poke at your insecurities, your past, your pain, not out of cruelty, but instinct. If you haven't faced those parts of yourself, you'll crumble, you'll react, you'll bleed. But the man who has walked into his own darkness, looked his demons in the eye and owned them, he becomes untouchable. She brings up your past, your pain. You don't flinch. You already faced that demon and tamed it. This is your armor. When you own your flaws, no one can use them to control you. Nietzsche's strength wasn't just in the mind, it was in the soul. True power comes from radical self-awareness. Know your shadow, integrate it, or be ruled by it. Rule 4. Don't compete for her attention. Compete with yourself. Nietzsche didn't believe in proving yourself to the world. He believed in overcoming yourself. That means not lowering your value by competing for anyone's attention, especially not a woman's. When you try to impress her, win her, or stand out among other men, you've already lost your power. You've made her the prize and yourself the beggar. But the man who focuses on his own growth, his purpose, his discipline, that man doesn't chase. He attracts. Nietzsche taught that true strength comes from within, not from the approval of others. While other men perform, post, and plead to be noticed, you stay on your path, you build, you evolve, you become undeniable. Not because you asked to be chosen, but because you chose yourself. And the paradox: while other men chase her, you chase your purpose. And guess who she can't stop thinking about? Be the man who competes with his past, not with other men. That's how you lead. That's how you win. Rule 5. Be dangerous but controlled. Nietzsche didn't admire weakness, and he didn't glorify mindless aggression either. What he valued was power under control. Not the man who lashes out, but the one who could and chooses not to. That's real strength. Women aren't drawn to chaos. They're drawn to edge, to a quiet fire they can feel but never manipulate. The man who's too nice gets overlooked. The one who's reckless gets discarded. But the man who carries danger like a hidden blade, he's unforgettable. He's respected, because she knows you could destroy, but you won't. Not because you're soft, but because you've mastered yourself. You're grounded, unshakable, and that balance of danger and discipline is rare. Nature's ideal man was one who had power in every step, but never needed to raise his voice to prove it. You're not the nice guy. You're not the jerk. You're the man she senses could break her, but never would. That's fear. That's desire. Be sharp. Be dangerous, but always be in control. Rule 6. Don't explain yourself. Power doesn't beg to be understood. Nietzsche believed that the moment you start justifying yourself, you've already surrendered power. Explanation, especially when it's not asked for, or worse, begged for, is the language of the insecure. And in today's world, too many men over-apologize, trying to keep the peace or win approval. But the truth is, real power doesn't explain. It simply is. A man grounded in his purpose doesn't need everyone to understand him. He acts, he moves, and the world adjusts. That includes her mystery builds power. When you stop filling silence with explanations, people lean in. They wonder, they feel your presence. She asks why you didn't text. You say, I was busy. No apology, no story, just presence. And she feels it, that calm certainty, that lack of need. It's rare, and it's magnetic. Stop trying to be understood. Start standing in who you are. Nature, new power speaks less, but says more. Rule 7. Never chase. Let her be the one to wonder. Nature's strength wasn't in being wanted, it was in doing the wanting. He believed in being the chooser, not the chosen. Today, too many men flip that script. They chase, they prove, they hope to be picked. But when you do that, you give up your crown. You become one of many, fighting for attention. That's not power. That's desperation. A real man builds himself into something so solid, so focused, that he becomes the gravity. She orbits you, not the other way around. Your attention becomes a reward, not a given. Your time, rare. Your presence, earned. Chase her, that's peasantry. You build your kingdom. She'll find her way to the gates. Because when you stop chasing, she starts wondering why you're so composed, why you're not trying, why she can't stop thinking about you. And that's the shift from needy to needed, from follower to force. Na knew the man who walks his own path never begs to be followed, and yet he is. Rule 8. She can test you, but you can't break. Enzi knew life would test you, and so will she. Not because she hates you, but because she needs to know you're solid. Women test strength the same way fire tests steel. It's not personal, it's instinct. She'll push your buttons, question your worth, stir your emotions. Not to hurt you, but to feel you, to see if you'll flinch, crack, or fold. Most men take the bait. They argue, prove, or collapse. But the strong man, he treats it like a game, a silent battle. She says, "You're not enough." You smile, not to impress, just to let her know you're unshaken. That smile isn't weakness. It's proof of inner calm. Enzi believed strength wasn't loud. It was still. When you pass the test without even reacting, you earn something deeper than attraction. You earn respect. The man who cannot be broken becomes the man no one forgets. Let her test. Let the fire rise. You stay centered, because real power doesn't explode. It endures. Rule 9. Choose respect over affection. Enzi didn't care about being liked. He cared about being respected. Affection is easy to give, easy to fake, and easy to lose. But respect, that's earned, that's lasting. Most men chase affection, compliments, smiles, approval, thinking it means connection. But it doesn't. A woman might like you today and ghost you tomorrow, but if she respects you, she remembers you, she rethinks you. She desires you not to control, but to follow, because respect creates polarity. It creates weight. Nietzsche taught that. The man who values respect over approval walks a higher path. He doesn't tolerate disrespect just to keep the peace. He doesn't bend to be liked. He stands firm and watches as people rise or fall around that standard. She might not always like you, but she'll never forget the man who demanded respect and gave it only to the worthy. In the long run, respect breeds deeper connection than charm ever could. Be liked and you're a moment. Be respected and you're a memory. Rule 10. Use silence as a weapon. Enzi believed that silence wasn't weakness. It was strategy. In a world full of noise, the man who can hold his tongue holds the high ground. Most men talk too much. They explain, defend, react, hoping to win by words. But the more you speak, the more you reveal. The more you chase clarity, the more you leak power. Silence, on the other hand, is sharp. It creates tension, mystery, presence. When used with intention, it becomes a weapon. One that cuts deeper than any argument. She expects a reaction. You give her silence. Now the battlefield is hers, and she's losing. Because silence makes her sit with herself. It forces reflection. And it shows her you don't need to fight to win. Nature saw silence as the language of mastery, the calm restraint of someone who knows his worth. So next time you're pushed, questioned, or provoked, don't reach for more words. Reach for stillness. The loudest man is rarely the strongest. The one who holds silence, he holds control. Rule 11. Stay grounded in truth, not her emotions. Enzi believed in living by truth, not by the shifting tides of emotion. He saw truth as something solid, objective, unshakable. But many men lose themselves in emotional storms, especially in relationships. Women often live more fluidly in emotional reality. What's true in the moment feels like the whole truth. And when that moment turns against you, it can sound like blame, distortion, even manipulation. If you're not grounded, you'll get pulled into that swirl, arguing, doubting, apologizing for things you didn't do. But when you hold to truth, you hold power. She says you're selfish. You know you're focused. That's the difference between feeling and fact. This isn't about dismissing her emotions. It's about not letting them rewrite your reality. Nietzsche's strength was rooted in clarity, in staying centered while the world spun around him. You don't need to fight emotions. Just don't lose yourself in them. Truth doesn't chase approval. It just stands. Be that mountain. Rule 12. Don't get pulled into her world. Invite her into yours. Nature believed the highest man creates his own values, his own world. Most men, without realizing it, abandon their mission the moment they meet a woman. They start bending, adjusting, trying to fit into her life, her pace, her emotions. And in doing so, they lose the very thing that made them attractive in the first place: direction. A man with a vision doesn't follow. He leads. He doesn't need permission. He builds his own kingdom brick by brick, with or without approval. And here's the paradox. You don't ask her to fit in. You simply live your vision and watch her adapt. When you're fully rooted in your purpose, she feels it. She sees it, and she either rise to meet your standards or fall away. But you never chase her world. You invite her into yours. Nietzsche's ideal man wasn't reactive. He was a creator. Be the man whose reality is so rich, so defined, that it becomes her new gravity. Don't step off your path to find her. Let her walk into the life you've already claimed. Rule 13. Always be willing to walk away. Nature preached unshakable independence, the kind that doesn't cling, doesn't beg, and never fears the exit. Most men get attached. They invest so much emotionally that the thought of walking away feels like death. That's not love, that's bondage. True power is the ability to stay calm in the face of loss, to know that no matter how much you care, you'll never compromise your values, your vision, or your peace to keep someone. The strongest man isn't the one who gets her. It's the one who can lose her and still sleep like a god. That's not coldness. That's self-respect. When she senses you don't need her to feel whole, she sees your value double. You're not clinging. You're choosing, and that's rare. Nature's highest man didn't fear solitude. He thrived in it. So let this be your mindset. Stay if it aligns. Walk if it doesn't. And never, ever beg to be kept. A man who can walk away holds the power. A man who won't, he's already lost. Rule 14. Don't try to change her. Observe her. Enzi warned against moralizing people, trying to fix them, change them, or mold them into ideals. Instead, he urged clarity, observation. Most men waste energy trying to make her see, to explain, to fix what feels off. But the truth, you don't change people. You watch them, you listen, you notice patterns, and you trust what you see over what you're told. She might say she values honesty but hides truths. She might say she wants peace but feeds drama. She says one thing, you see another. You don't argue. You note it and you adjust your power accordingly. This is quiet strength, calm awareness. You don't need to confront. Just observe and then decide. Does her behavior align with your values? Is she compatible with your path? Nature's higher man isn't reactive. He's a watcher. He doesn't cling to illusions. He sees clearly, acts decisively, and never tries to fix what reveals itself through time. Watch long enough, and everything you need to know appears. Rule 15. Transcend pleasure. Don't be ruled by desire. Enzi believed that true strength begins where impulse ends. Most men are ruled by what feels good: sex, beauty, validation. But when pleasure becomes your master, power slips through your fingers. You chase, you crave, you become predictable. Weak, the highest man isn't anti-pleasure. He simply doesn't need it. He chooses desire without being controlled by it. That's the difference. He can enjoy, but he never worships, and that makes him dangerous. She tempts, you smile. You've tasted power greater than pleasure, and she knows. That calm resistance, that's magnetic. Because women don't just sense hunger, they test for it. And when they meet a man who doesn't drool, doesn't chase, doesn't need, it unsettles them, it intrigues them. Nature's ideal man directs his energy toward creation, not consumption, toward purpose, not addiction. Don't run from desire. Rise above it. Pleasure fades, power builds. And a man who masters both, he becomes untouchable. Rule 16. She's not the prize. You are. Nur didn't believe in chasing illusions. He believed in becoming something worthy, something so strong, so centered, that the world responds to your presence. Too many men forget this. They pedestalize women. They see beauty and mistake it for value, but beauty is common. Power is not. And nature knew, the moment you see yourself as the prize, everything shifts. You stop chasing. You start choosing. You start proving. You start being. She's beautiful, but so what? You're powerful, and power doesn't beg. It chooses. That's the difference between the boy and the man. The boy chases what sparkles. The man builds what shines. When you walk like the prize, speak like the prize, live like the prize, you don't have to convince anyone. She sees it, she feels it, and she follows it. Nature's Übermensch doesn't wait to be crowned. He becomes the crown, so stop looking for validation. Stand in it. You're not a contestant. You're the storm, and the storm never chases. Nature didn't preach hatred. He preached transcendence. He didn't waste time blaming the world or women. He turned inward. He sharpened his mind, hardened his will, and built a life that answered to no one but truth. His mission was simple yet ruthless. Become more than you are. Not through domination, but through self-overcoming. That's the path of the Ubach. A man who doesn't react. He creates. Who doesn't chase approval. He commands respect. Who doesn't fear tests. He welcomes them as proof of his strength. This isn't about playing games. It's about no longer being played. In a world of followers, nature was a god of his own making. Now it's your turn. Outsmart. Not by hate, but by rising above. Don't fight for the crown. Become it. Let them talk. Let them test you. You walk unbothered, unbroken, and unchained.